1:30. I'd like to call the meeting of the Traffic and Transportation Commission for March 19, 2018 order. Roll call, Commissioner Clare.
Present.
Commissioner Littlefield.
Present.
Commissioner White. Not available. Commissioner Hale.
Here, sir.
Commissioner Schuline.
Here.
Commissioner Miller.
Here.
Commissioner George. Not available. And Commissioner Milner.
Here.
I'd like to have a motion concerning the minutes of the February 19th, 2018 meeting, please.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Commissioner Hale. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Milner. Do we have any discussion? Okay, motion to approve the minutes of the February 19, 2018 meeting from Commissioner Hale, seconded by Commissioner Milner. Can I have your votes, please? Okay, item is approved. Report on license and taxi record service will be next month. Do we have anybody here that wants to speak against the two items on the consent docket? Okay. Staff, do you have any input on consent?
No, we're just recommending approval of the items as presented.
Thank you. Do we have a motion concerning item 4?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve the consent docket by Commissioner Hale. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Schuline. Any discussion? Okay, we have a motion to approve the consent docket from Commissioner Hale, second by Commissioner Schuline. Can I have your votes, please? Okay, item is approved. Items for individual consideration. Item 5A, traffic management. All wards to consider a recommendation to the Oklahoma City Council to award record service contracts for the 2018-2019 to Arrow Record Service for Zone 1, Puckett's for Zone 2, Car Cab Record Service for Zone 3, and 4A Record Service for Zone 4. Do you have anybody here who wants to speak on item 5A? Okay, do we have staff input?
All right, you've got our comments before you. This is a process that we've been using since 2007, which is issuing a request for proposals. The city put this out, and we received 4 proposals for the contracts. It just so happens they are from the current service companies that hold the contracts for each of the zones that are being presented in this particular item. So unless there are any questions, we're going to recommend that the Commission forward a recommendation to the City Council to award record services contracts to Arrow Record Service for Zone 1, Puckett's for Zone 2, Car Cab Record Service for Zone 3, and 4A Record Service for Zone 4.
Thank you. Do we have a motion concerning 5A?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Clare. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hale. Do we have any discussion? All right. The only comments I have is I want to thank you all for the hard work that you all do out there. A lot of times you get the calls at night in the rain when it's cold and all that good stuff. So I just want to say thanks for all the hard work you all do for us. So we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Clare, seconded by Commissioner Hale. Can I have your votes, please? Okay, item is approved. Again, thank you all. We go on now to item 5B, Susan Perry, to consider a request for the installation of a traffic signal at the intersection of Silver Crossing and West Wilshire Boulevard. Do you have anybody here to speak on this item? All right, come on up. Ma'am, if I could have your name, your address, you have up to 5 minutes, and then fill out one of these when you're done, please, and they have them right there.
Okay.
All right, thank you. You
Good
can pull the
afternoon.
mic down. Yeah.
Thank you for having me here. I am Susan Perry. I am the one that has put in this written request.
Right, if I could have your actual address, please.
3709 Linda Avenue,
Okay, thank you.
Oklahoma City, Oklahoma 73112.
Okay, go ahead.
I work at the American Cancer Society, which is on Silver Crossings. We do use Silver Crossings quite a bit. It's a very busy intersection going south to Wilshire Avenue. And when we're leaving during the 5, 6 o'clock hour, it is extremely busy and dangerous for us to come out because Wilshire is at least 45 miles an hour. They do not stop in either direction. You have the sun in your eyes, and you will have a car next to you. You can try to park in between to see and gauge how fast the people are coming going west. but you have no clue. Once they're in your blind spot, once they're in the car next to you blind spot, exactly if they're going to stop, speed up, slow down. There's been many near accidents there, and according to your report, there has been some accidents there. And I was just wondering if we can get an actual stoplight there to give us a chance to get out safely. Walmart is in that area, several car dealerships, Sprint, the American Cancer Society, so it's a very well-traveled area.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Anybody else want to speak on item 5B? Okay, staff input, please.
All right, you've got our comments before you. As Ms. Perry noted, the posted speed limit on Wilshire Boulevard is 45 miles an hour. We reviewed the intersection with respect to the manual on uniform traffic control devices and the traffic signal warrants. Based on the 45 mile an hour posted speed limit, this particular location would meet the 4-hour vehicle volume warrant, and that would be using the full approach volume on Silver Crossing. And when I talk about the full approach volume, because it's a T intersection, I'm talking about all the drivers approaching that will be making left turns onto Wilshire or making right turns. This item is very similar to one that was considered last month when you had a request at Western Avenue and Southwest 107th Street. That too is a T intersection, and when we reviewed that, we reviewed that in the exact same manner in which we reviewed this particular case, because the manual allows you to take right-turning vehicles out of the equation. Because in an instance, you can do that if you don't have any view obstructions or anything else that might affect safety. Now, there can be temporary, transitory view obstructions created when you've got two vehicles exiting and they're pulled up side by side. There's really nothing that you can do about that. However, when we went ahead and ran our analysis, just seeing whether a traffic signal would be warranted to handle the left turns coming out from Silver Crossing onto West Wilshire Boulevard, we found that the intersection would not meet any of the warrants for consideration of a traffic signal. So at this point in time, the decision as to whether to place a traffic signal at this intersection is going to be at the discretion of the Commission. One thing I will note that the manual on uniform traffic control devices recommends that a signal should not be installed unless an engineering study indicates that installing a traffic signal will improve the overall safety and operation of the intersection. With respect to past collision history, there is only one collision of a right angle type collision, which would be of a type that would be considered potentially correctable by a signal. The manual says that you should be looking at least 5 correctable collisions within a 12-month period, and that does not happen at this particular location. So should the Commission consider approving the request for a signal, staff would recommend that approval include roadway widening on Wilshire Boulevard in order to provide for a dedicated left turn lane to turn onto Silver Crossing. I'm happy to answer any other questions you might have relative to the application.
Is there a motion concerning item 5B?
Motion to disapprove.
We have a motion to disapprove by Commissioner Clare. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Miller. Any talk? Sir.
Stuart, was there any question posed to Public Works, or is there any capital improvement project or any road widening plan for this area or intersection in the next few years?
At this particular location, no, because Wilshire Boulevard's already widened to 4 lanes. If there were any roadway changes made, it would be because there would be some form of a traffic control change made, like the introduction of a traffic signal. On the aerial map there, you will note that that in this same area there was a traffic signal that the Commission did approve in 2012, and that's over at Council Road and Northwest 82nd Street. That was approved in 2012. That one's been included for funding in the 2017 General Obligation Bond, and that one does include some roadway widening along with it. But other than that, there are no other public improvements that are being contemplated for Wilshire Boulevard so far as I'm aware.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments? Sir.
If you're headed west from Silver Crossing on 85th Terrace, what's the name of the road that intersects that north-south road? there's a light, it appears there's a light to the west of the proposed, that's council? That seems to me to be a safer choice to take if you're uncomfortable at Wilshire and Silver Crossing. That light exists, doesn't it?
Yes. And the streets that go into the area where the Cancer Society offices are, there are other ways that are available in and out. Because the area is fairly well connected, so there's access to Council Road, there's access to the Northwest Expressway, in addition to Wilshire.
Okay, anybody else on item 5B? Okay, we have a motion to disapprove item 5B from Commissioner Clare, seconded by Commissioner Miller. Can I have your votes, please? Okay, item is disapproved. Go on now to item 5C, Jason Cotton, P.E., Principal, Director of Civil Engineering, to consider request to remove metered parking on the east side of North Robinson Avenue from approximately 40 feet south to 125 feet south of the south curb line of Park Avenue. 2, to remove metered parking on the south side of Park Avenue from approximately 50 feet east to 160 feet east of the east curb line of North Robinson Avenue. 3, establish a full-time passenger load-in zone on the east side of North Robinson Avenue from approximately 40 feet south to 125 feet south of the south curb line of Park Avenue. And 4, establish a full-time passenger load-in zone on the south side of Park Avenue from approximately 50 feet east to 160 feet east of the east curb line of North Robinson Avenue. Do we have anybody here to speak on item 5C? So if I can have your name and address, and you have up to 5 minutes.
My name is Gary Brooks, 4 East Sheridan, Cornerstone Development.
Okay, if you could fill one of these out when you're done, please.
Yes, sir. As some of you may know, my partner and I purchased the First National Center, downtown Oklahoma City, January of 2017. That was after about 14 months of design and due diligence that we had gone through. So we're now about 2.5 years into what we believe and hope will be a 5-year project to redevelop the 1.1 million square foot building. It runs the entire block from Robinson to Broadway. And we, one of the things that we think will bring great value to downtown will also be one of our biggest challenges. And that is, at any given time, there'll be 1,000 to 1,500 people living, staying, eating, drinking, working in this building that are not there today. We have one alley that will be monitored 24 hours a day because that alley has to service all of the deliveries that will be made to all the people living, working, drinking, all the restaurants, all the bars, the hotel. And so we think that that will be quite a challenge to manage that. But we've got a system that we think will be effective. That the key is to how do we move people in and out the hotel, people who maybe have never been to Oklahoma City before. We don't have the luxury of having a big valet area to pull in, maybe like the Cole Court has. And we certainly don't have that on Park Avenue. One of the things that makes First National great is it's at Park and Robinson. One of the challenges is it's Park and Robinson. So, we're here today. We've spent months and months trying to determine the best way to manage these 1,000 to 1,500 people. We think it's a system that we can manage through probably having the largest and most sophisticated valet team that Oklahoma City has ever seen. And I brought a team here to give you a lot more detail and help answer a lot of your questions. But I'm available when they're done if you have any specific questions for me.
Thank you. Anybody else? Sir, if I could have your name and address, and you have up to 5 minutes.
J.C. Witcher, ADG Architects, 920 West Main here in Oklahoma City. So I think that as far as details in the report, it details that there's 4 parallel parking places that we're asking to turn into ultimately valet spaces along North Robinson, and then 5 spaces on the south side of Park Avenue. I think the need for valet service with a high-end hotel and residential component, as well as the food and beverage outlets, is pretty self-evident, but we'll be happy to answer any questions as you guys do your deliberation.
Thank you very much. Anybody else wanted to speak on item 5C? Okay, staff input, please.
All right, you've got our comments before you. The one thing that we do note is that in favor of metered parking, the applicant is seeking the passenger loading zones on Robinson and on Park, and they're requesting that they be passenger loading zones made available on a full-time basis. So if the commission approves this item, they need to include a recommendation that these zones are available and in effect on a full-time basis. This item is actually linked with the following item, which you'll discuss next, because what you're looking at now is removing metered parking in favor of a full-time passenger loading zone, and then the follow-on item is going to be for a valet use, which is a supplemental use for a full-time passenger loading zone. So if you've got any questions on the item, I'll be happy to answer.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion concerning item 5C?
Mr. Chairman, I move the applicant's request be approved with staff's recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion to approve item 5C from Commissioner Schuline. That includes the staff recommendation about the full-time. Do we have a second? Okay. We have a second by Commissioner Littlefield. Any discussion? Okay, we have a motion to approve item 5C, which includes the staff recommendation of full-time by Commissioner Schuline, seconded by Commissioner Littlefield. Can I have your votes, please? Okay, item is approved. We go on now to item 5D. Jason Cotton, PE Principal, Director of Civil Engineering, to consider a request for the addition of, 1, a valet loading zone within the passenger loading zone on the east side of North Robinson Avenue from approximately 40 feet south to 125 feet south of the south curb line of Park Avenue, and 2, a valet loading zone within the passenger loading zone on the south side of Park Avenue from approximately 50 feet east to 160 feet east of the east curb line of North Robinson Avenue. Anybody here wanting to speak on item 5D? Yes, sir.
J.C. Witcher, ADG 920 West Main. With the comments from the previous item, we just ask that you approve this so that we can close the loop on the valet service when our facility is open.
Okay. Anybody else want to speak on item 5D? Okay, staff input.
As noted in the discussion of the previous item, a valet loading zone overlay within a full-time passenger loading zone is an appropriate ancillary use. So action on the item will be at the discretion of the commission.
Okay, do we have a motion concerning item 5D?
Mr. Chairman, I move the application be approved as submitted.
We have a motion to approve item 5D from Commissioner Schuline. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Milner. Any discussion? Okay, we have a motion to approve item 5D by Commissioner Schuline, seconded by Commissioner Milner. Votes, please. Okay, item is approved. Okay. Sir, yeah. Sir? Sir? Oh, excuse me. Very good, thank you. Okay, we go on now to item 5E, Kara Watkins, Executive Director, Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum, to consider a request to, 1, establish a full-time passenger loading zone on the east side of North Harvey Avenue from approximately 40 feet south to 270 feet south of the south curb line of Northwest 6th Street, and 2, establish meter parking on the east side of North Harvey Avenue from approximately 210 feet north to 298 feet north of the north curb line of Northwest 4th Street. Anybody here to speak on item 5E? Hi, sir.
Hello, my name is Gabriel Taylor.
Sir, if I could have your address, and you have up to 5 minutes.
10900 Gracie, oh, sorry, no, it's 18 409 Hasselmeyer Lane, Edmond, Oklahoma. My name is Gabriel Taylor. I'm with the Oklahoma City National Memorial. I'm the Facilities Director of Operations there. We appreciate it if you would consider bus loading and unloading zone for us to have it in front of our museum. That way, for our 20,000 visitors we have each year through buses with school children and with our elderly generation, that they have an easier access and a safer access to the museum. And then the 4 meter parking areas to alleviate the parking metered area there that allows for more parking meter area there. We appreciate you guys working with us and the staff of Oklahoma City to work with us and being able to provide a excellent place for our visitors from around the world to come and visit. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them, and thank you for your time.
Very good, thank you. Anybody else here to speak on item 5E? Okay, can we have staff input, please?
Okay, you've got a report before you. This portion of Harvey Avenue adjacent to the Memorial Museum, when it was reconstructed under Project 180, it included additional pavement width that could be used in the future for something. It was originally intended for parking, but due to other concerns, it was never used for parking, so it was signed as a no parking zone. What the Memorial Museum is making a request for is to utilize some of that space which was originally set aside and to set up a full-time passenger loading zone on the east side of Harvey. This would be between 5th Street and 6th Street, and then south of there, between 5th and 4th Street, is to recapture a little bit of that space to be used for some metered parking. So you've got the balance of our comments before you. This particular location would probably be suitable for a full-time passenger loading zone, which is how staff has recommended that it be approved if the commission votes that direction. So I'm happy to answer any other questions you might have relative to the application.
All right, do we have a motion concerning item 5E?
Mr. Chairman, I move the application be approved with the staff recommendation that the loading zone be in effect on a full-time basis.
Okay, that's correct, right? We need that. Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Schuline to approve item 5E to include staff recommendations. Do we have a second?
Second.
And we have a second by Commissioner Clare. Do we have any discussion? Okay, we have a motion to approve item 5E from Commissioner Schuline, which includes staff recommendation, and is seconded by Commissioner Clare. Can I have your votes, please? Okay, item is approved. Okay, we go to comments from citizens. Anybody want to say anything? Okay. Reports and other items from the traffic commissioners, et cetera. So we'll head on around the horseshoe. Go over to Commissioner Clare.
I just wanted to mention, I'm sure most of you are aware of it, that there's a current draft of Bike Walk OKC out for public comment. I believe the comment period ends on Wednesday, so it's got a lot of great information and some good feedback so far. So if you haven't checked it out, go online. You're able to comment on it.
Okay, we go on over to Commissioner Littlefield.
Actually, none, but I had to add the word actually.
Actually, correct. We go on over to Commissioner Hale.
Nothing, sir.
Commissioner Schuline.
Nothing to report, sir. Thank you.
Commissioner Miller.
Nothing here, sir.
Commissioner Milner.
I just wanted to add that I got to see the driver feedback cards, some of them back in action this past week, and that is a great program to see. To see the traffic react to those actually on the street was fantastic. So I'm glad we got some of those back in action again. Thank you.
All right. I just have something. There was a article in the Oklahoma about 2 weeks ago concerning traffic and buildings and people walking downtown. And I was enjoying the whole article because it was talking about some stuff that might be coming up on 4th and 5th Street and some more housing or some more apartments going up in that area. And everything was going great until the author started talking about us up here. And I went ahead and shot him a note, and I'd like to just kind of read it so you guys know what I said back to him concerning his article that was in the paper. I said, Steve Lackmeyer is the person who does a lot of great things. I do want to say that he does a lot of he knows this whole city, and he does a lot of things, and I've heard him speak a few times, so I know him in passing. So I shot a note to him. I said, I was enjoying the actual article until you said that the Traffic Commission still have the same bias towards traffic with the fear of what might happen with little recognition of the need to balance vehicle and pedestrian concerns, ... And he went on. His second to last paragraph, he said, if history is our guide. So I guess he was saying that history of the Traffic Commission has this bias. Then I said, please note that there are 9 members on the Traffic Commission, and as such, we do expect different views to be offered up here. I asked him to look back over the years at some of the work that the Traffic Commission has done. Some come to mind. I was just brainstorming when I wrote this. The 4-way stops to divert traffic back into feeder streets out of the neighborhoods, we've worked that. Broadway to 3 lanes and to go to angle parking to help in that area. We agreed and supported the bike plan and to approve bike routes. That was some of the work that we did up here with planning. The going from 1-way streets to 2-way streets with only 2 lanes of traffic compared to 4 lanes of traffic so people can cross easier. That was all approved from up here. Then he talked about the 2 locations, 23rd Street by Tower Theater and Broadway, and their speed limits. Those are, and I said to him that those are actually feeder streets, and the 85 per centile was closer to the previous speed limit than what we went to. I said that both things are of a concern. Vehicle traffic, feeder roads, getting traffic in and out of the downtown area, and also when there's new businesses going up, all the different people that now are trying to walk on those feeder streets. And so I said that I've been on the Traffic Commission 11 years and the chairman over 5 years, and I know that we work hard to balance these 2 issues, traffic and people. I said that I respect all that he does for Oklahoma City, and I asked that he reread not just what he said, but how he said it, by throwing some of those words out there about the Traffic Commission. An example, his last paragraph, he indicated there was a no that they refused to accept. For the Broadway going down to 25 miles an hour is what he was talking about, that there was a no that they refused to accept, and I made it clear to him that there was no no's. It did get approved. I said that I do believe we have been fair in our review of all these different issues and have done what is best. And I offered to meet with him or to talk with him. He offered to meet, but we just haven't been able to set up a time to actually talk face to face. So his reply back, let's visit in person, that he acknowledges that these items passed narrowly over the hoops of the applicants that they were able to jump through. And I wanted to say that because I wanted to make sure that we don't think that we create too much of a hindrance for applicants when they come up here. I just want to make sure that we don't think that, and even including staff. If the system is too complicated, too in-depth, too hard to process through, he thinks it is. And I just want to ask you guys, do we think it is? Or is it fine the way it is, the way we process through these thoughts and the final things that we come up with?
Can I ask,
Sure.
was it his response that said these passed narrowly?
Yes. I'm
But
sorry.
through hoops? What did he say?
Well, he said,
The applicant?
I acknowledged these items passed narrowly over the hoops the applicants were able to jump through.
Now, the applicants on those that passed
Right. They had to jump through
followed the
hoops.
same process of, they didn't follow any different process than everybody else, though, right?
Correct.
So, I mean, it's a level playing field.
Well, it's a level playing field, but I guess he's saying that when these applicants come in, the work that they have to do before it comes to us are the hoops that they have to go through. And I think my reply to him, and I didn't go into it with him, but I would face-to-face, is more, we want to make sure whatever is done is right for the right reason, and just because an applicant or applicants come in for one issue, it does affect thousands of people, especially on these feeder streets that have 22,000 cars going on it. So when we do make these decisions, yes, we want to make sure that everything is very clear to us, is what I would say to him. And I just want to make sure that that's kind of what we think, that we're not going too far and making it too hard. Yes, sir.
My only question is, what hoops are we having these applicants go through? If the hoops are a matter of having to pass through the reports that the city has furnished us as far as what's actually going on, then yeah, they need to jump through some hoops if that's what he's addressing. But I don't know of any hoops or any special requirements we make on any applicant other than for us to look at an evaluation of the request, an evaluation of the physical location, and then to make a determination. And if that's a hoop, I'm sorry, but that's our job.
Right, and I just wanted to, that's the basic conversation we had over email, and we're still trying to get with each other to maybe meet just to talk it out. But that was my going back is, these are very important changes to something that might be around for 10, 15, 20 years. And if we're going to want to make a change, we want to make sure we have all the data that's in front. And it is probably a very hard process to go through, to work with the city, to go over all the results, it's that give and take and all the different things that happen before it gets to us. But we just want to make sure it's right, I think. And so, yes, sir.
When we look at, if anybody's jumping through hoops, it's staff. The work that you guys do to provide to us the information that we need to make decisions, it's look at the example today of the red light application at Wilshire and Silver Crossing. All the data and all the information that you guys perform for us to do that. We're not jumping, the commissioners aren't jumping through any hoops, and I don't see where the applicants necessarily are either. And I'm not sure what was he saying about 23rd Street speed limit, the hoops that they had to go through to get it reduced?
Right. That's the basic gist was the effort it took, because it did come in front of us several times because of that mid-block crossing. So that it was tied up, that speed limit changed, the mid-block crossing, and it did come up to us, and it did take some effort on their part, but that's a major road.
And a major difference in it.
Right.
And a major use from where it used to be. And it's going to take time to have that all settle down and for people to actually drive 25 miles an hour.
Well, and see, that's the follow-up to this whole thing is that in his chat that he has, there was a question brought up about why isn't the city enforcing the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit out on 23rd? People are driving too fast. Well, it goes back to the data we had when we made the choice, we knew that the 85 percentile in that area was, I believe, 32 or 33 miles an hour. So 30 was the correct speed when you look at the 85 percentile, but we went down to 25 because we knew the extra amount of people that were going to be in that area.
And a crosswalk.
And a crosswalk, et
Another
cetera.
thing that might be beneficial to remind him is ASAP. Tremendous amount of work went into that program that hasn't been utilized yet, but eventually it will be, and that's tremendous regard, simplifying what neighborhoods may have to go through to calm traffic. So I read it, but I didn't take it quite the way that you did until now. Thank you.
Yeah, I took it a little personally, yeah, so I tried not to get too personal with it, but,
If I may,
yes, sir.
the decisions we make and the staff has to make, a lot of our work is dependent on engineering background studies. Now, that's probably what someone in the lay person, they don't know that when you, I need a signal because I can't get out. They don't know the engineering studies that has to be performed before that's warranted, all about the warrants or stuff like that. That's what we're supposed to be looking into, to see if they do meet and hold us fast to those warrants. I mean, if staff comes up and makes a recommendation based on good engineering judgment, I mean, it's beyond us to say, well, we've got to turn a blind eye to that. Sometimes it might be possible for the right reasons. But the lay people and him thinking that, well, you know, we're never going to be 100% to some of this stuff, because some of us are going to hold true to our engineering convictions regardless, and some of us will feel more for the applicant. I mean, I've seen that happen here in some of our recent stuff, and that's just the way it's going to happen. But when most of this, speed studies or engineering is determined, 85th percentile, you go out and you do the study, signals, same way, four-way stops, regulatory, all of it comes from the manual, which makes recommendations. Now, sure, they're not concrete, but by golly, they've proven, they'll tell you if you're wrong or not. If you set it too low, they're going to tell you that it ain't going to work. I think we can prove that, too. So I'm just saying that sometimes they don't understand the engineering side of this stuff. I mean, it's tough.
So I just wanted to let you know that's what I sent them. Of course, you know, it's out in the paper, so everybody reads that, and I just wanted to make sure that we didn't think we were creating hoops that these applicants out there have to go through. I think over the years, we've made it very streamlined and easily access to the city to bring in their thoughts, and then Stuart has done a great job over the years and his staff working with the people to make sure to find out what they really want. Because sometimes they may not know what they really want. They think that's the answer. So Stuart brings out all the options, and then it gets all brought in, do all the studies, get all that information. So yes, it is a process, but I think the process we have now has been streamlined, and it is the right level that has to be done so we can get all the information. I just wanted to make sure that we were doing that, because he had that thought. So maybe he's heard that from other people and all that, and I just wanted to make sure that we're okay. Did you have something, sir?
Quickly, one other thing that I think is very important that I've observed on the, I don't know, 6 or so years that I've been here, is when we can't follow through approving an application for a particular thing, this body is very sensitive after that fact to have extensive conversation with these applicants to try to find ways to help solve their problems differently than what they applied for. I think we're doing great work here.
Just
yes, sir.
One, I'd like to add just very quickly that I took issue with the article just mainly due to the fact that on 23rd and on Broadway both, the reports that we looked at did not recommend the action that were finally taken. So it's not a matter that this body goes strictly by what the report says or what the manual says, that we do take it in consideration as far as what the reports say, but we also take into consideration what the applicant desires. So even though the report said neither one of those actions were warranted, we took it anyway. So I think that, just by virtue of the fact that we did that, kind of refutes the idea that we're that carved in stone or that hard to come and approach.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody else? Okay, we need to go here. Captain, you have anything, sir?
I do not have anything. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor? Okay, staff, any final?
We just have our standard monthly report on yields and parking restrictions installed administratively, but I have nothing further to add.
Okay. Do you have anything else here for the Traffic Commission? All right, we stand adjourned.